All right, it is still the Ultimate Morning Show here on Raypower 100.5 FM. Welcome back to the Abuja studio. My name is Dima, and as promised, it is time for us to check out the papers this morning and see the stories that are making headlines. How are you, by the way? Are you already on your way to work this beautiful Tuesday morning, the 24th day in the month of March, or are you just getting ready? Whatever it is, remember, we can't stop working hard. I mean, slow and steady, wins the race. Now, do not forget that we are live on YouTube at Raypower Abuja. In case you want to watch this newspaper review live, it is on YouTube at this moment. Raypower Abuja. Okay, let's get right to the paper. I'll be starting off with this Nigerian newspaper, and the big story here is on the 868 million naira fraud. It says how ex-accountant general got 72-year jail term. And according to the judge, he said he diverted defense funds into personal investment, laundered public money through proxy accounts. The story is on page 2 of this Nigeria this morning. And in addition to that, ICPC arraigns El Rufai in Kaduna today over alleged fraud. This one is on page 8. PDP set for March 29th convention, begins sale of nomination form. Read that on page 7 of this Nigeria. APC moves to calm tension ahead of crucial convention. Okay, that one is on page 17. Now, on a sad note, deadly explosion rocks Niger, bridge destroyed, 8 killed. Insurgents shift tactics to isolate border communities. Very, very terrible. Shifting tactics to isolate border communities. That is very terrible. The story is on page 5 of this Nigerian newspaper this morning. And with that, we'll move on to the Nigerian News Direct. Okay, before the Nigerian News Direct, let us take the Standard Times newspaper. And it says ICPC to arraign El Rufai in 2 Kaduna courts today. Now, this one for the Standard Times opens on the front page and continues on page 3. And on the 868.4 million naira fraud, court jails former acting accountant general Nwaboko for 72 years. Both of them, accountant general and Nwaboko, for 72 years. And this opens on the front page of the Standard Times as well, continues on page 4. Ahead of 2027, Isiaka signals 4th bid for Ogun governorship. Begins consultation, page 8 read. Moneypoint acquires order to boost Africa's food service economy. That is on page 3. Tony Elumelu marks birthday with renewed commitments to empower 3,200 African entrepreneurs across 54 countries. This one is on page 8. And FRSC confirms 10 dead, 20 injured in Niger tanker crash. Warns against traffic violations. That is on page 9. IGP Disu decorates 13 AIGs, 17 CPs, preaches discipline and accountability. Read details on that story on page 3 of the Standard Times. Now, Governor Soludo appoints 39-year-old Nnaeke as Anambra SSG. This story is on page 2. DSS stormed Malami's Abuja residence following Atiku's visit. That is on page 3. And above the nameplate of Standard Times, Dangote warns of global oil shocks. Lord Tinubu's UK visit gains. Opens on the front page here, continues on page 13. Lagos government launches Blue Economy TV to drive maritime investment. Page 13 read as well as also 1 dead, several injured in failed arrest of Kanu bandit leader. This story is on page 4. All right, now let's check out the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. The big story says Atiku demands release of El Rufai, kicks against detaining political opponents. Read that story on page 2. Now, IGP decorates newly promoted officers. Page 2 read as well. Extended global energy disruption poses systemic risk. Total Energy CEO giving that warning. That is on page 2 as well. Osun lawmaker withdraws resignation from Accord Party. Declares support for Adeleke. Read that on page 13. Shatima declares Fintiri as APC leader in Adamawa State. That is on page 2. Now, UK and Nigeria deportation agreements cannot be legally enforced, coming from Femi Falana. That is on page 23. And that rounds up the front page of the Nigerian News that I read this morning. Now I'll be checking out the Daily Sun. This begins with APC retains zoning formula. Yewada Masari admits challenges. Insists convention will hold as planned. Uzodinma Oberevori Okowa rally south for APC in Asaba. This is on page 6. IPI urges Tinubu to rein in Niger governor over media attacks. Page 27. Read. 868 million naira fraud, ex-AGOF, Nwaboko gets 72 years imprisonment, page 40, page 4, read there. Tinubu's economics reforms most significant in decades, coming from Mumbai, as NGX UBA confirmed Enugu as an emerging investor haven. This story is on page 25. Niger Delta Chamber targets $5 billion investment, 500,000 jobs. Middle East crisis, war premium hits Nigeria shippers, voyage cost quadruple from $250,000 to $1 million. This story is on page 2 of the Daily Sun. Nigeria begins HIV prevention injection rollout, deploys in Anambra, Ebonyi, Gombe, Kwara, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Benue, and FCT. And this story opens on the front page of the Daily Sun, continues on page 6. And lastly, from the Daily Sun is beside the nameplate, terrorists hit Kwara and Niger communities, several feared dead, bridge blown, troops uncover terrorist burial ground, nab high-profile collaborators in Northeast. This story, they are both on pages 4 and 27 of the Daily Sun. That wraps Daily Sun. Also, to still remind you, we are live on the YouTube channel, and that is on Raypower Abuja. Just searching Raypower Abuja on YouTube and you can join the conversation there. Now let's proceed to the Daily Asset newspaper. The big story here says federal government approves education sector grants, scholarships, UTME reforms. 65 exceptional students benefit 50 million naira venture capital each. JAM introduces new test engine, extends mock duration. This story is on page 2 of the Daily Assets this morning. Tanker on high-speed crashes, kills 10, injures 20 in Niger State. Articulated vehicles invoked in mixed loading. This opens on the front page here, continues on page 2. Benue deepens maternal health drive, begins strategic training, page 22. And Niger Delta Chamber targets $5 billion investment and 500,000 jobs. This is on page 9 of the Daily Assets. Shetima names Fintiri Adamawa APC leader, page 24, read. Now, a little bit of a foreign story here. Poblio calls for aerial military strike ban, page 28. And meanwhile, Davido headlines first UK festival at Crystal Palace Bowl, and this is on page 30. And lastly, from the Daily Asset, Moneypoint acquires order to boost Africa's food service economy. Opens on the front page. Here continues on page 2. This wraps up the Daily Asset, but we still do have some more papers to check out this morning. And next is the Daily Monitor. Now, you are starting a fight. You can't win. Wike wants Makinde. Cautions PDP members ahead of party's national convention to demonstrate loyalty or risk being sidelined. This is still the PDP crisis rolling. Opens on the front page here, continues on page 2. Now, ahead of 2027, Tinubu will be re-elected in spite of opposition coming from Hope Uzodinma. Opens on the front page here as well. Also proceeds to page 2. Dangote warns of global oil shocks, Lord's Tinubu's UK visit gains. Page 2 read also. EU announces 288 million euros grants to Nigeria's healthcare sector, among others. This is on page 4. Alleged graft, ICPC to arraign El-Rufai in Kaduna today. Page 4 read. Court jails ex-AGF and Nwaboko 72 years for 168 million naira fraud. Page 4, read as well. Lastly, IGP warns newly promoted AIGs and CPs against indiscipline, dereliction of duty. Opens on the front page as well, continues on page 2. And that wraps up the Daily Monitor. Heading over now to the Nigerian Pilot newspaper, where the big story starts with the issue of insecurity. Says bomb blast hits Niger and Kwara. Few riders to the story. Terrorists bomb Niger bridge, kill 8 persons, severe international trade route. Explosion also rocked Woro community in Kayama local government area of Kwara State, claiming many lives. In Niger, commercial vehicles struck planted IEDs in Wawa Kayama Road Monday morning. Niger police confirmed that the bridge was sabotaged at approximately 2 a.m. That's not a very good story. But yes, that is the reality here. This story is on page 8 of the Nigerian Parlor newspaper. 10 die in Niger State auto crash. Yet again, another headline here. This is on page 9. And we're moving on to other stories. Pandev demands probe of alleged Ozoro Festival abuse on women. Page 5, read. Petrol imports bill dropped by 28% to $10 billion in 2025, coming from CBN, and this is on page 6. SEC, NYSC partner to strengthen financial literacy, combat investment fraud. Page 21, read there. Federal government to open key southeast highways before Easter. This is coming from the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and this is on page 5. Alleged graft ICPC to arraign Erufai today, also on page 5. And also on page 5 as well, Nigeria begins HIV prevention injection rollout. Now to page 7, court jails ex-AGOF Nwaboko 72 years for 868 million naira fraud. And that wraps up the Nigerian pilot. Lastly, we'll be checking out the New Telegraph newspaper this morning. We are still live on Raypower Abuja on YouTube, where you can watch this newspaper review live and also share your contribution on that. Now, for the last paper that we have this morning is from the New Telegraph, and the big story is on the spike in terrorist attacks. Says there's lapse in intel gathering and analysis. AVM Adesanya speaking there as retired general identify causes, profile solutions, society approach key in war against terror coming from Buratai. Says Nigeria needs more troops because of vast land mass. Several Fed killed as bomb blast hits bus in Kwara. Terrorist bomb bridge linking communities to Bogo, and also aim to deprive military access to hideout, according to source. This story for the New Telegraph is on pages 3, 9, 10, and 28 of the paper. It's a bit of a long read. Now, for the Middle East crisis, Iran, US, both want to make a deal, according to the US President Donald Trump. A few writers to the story says, postpone strike to Iran power plant, global stock market surge on ceasefire, Nigerian exchange defies threats, sustain weekly gains, Nigeria orders on the spot over fuel price volatility, and IEA warns of severe global energy crisis, signals readiness for additional emergency oil release. Pages 2, 8, and 19 of the New Telegraph this morning. Now, on the PDP neck, you wanted money. I wanted power. Wike tells Makinde. Writer to the story, as party declares no victor, no vanquish, intensified efforts on rebuilding party. Page 4. All right, that is where you can read the story there. Now to more story here. Food prices pressure pushes Argo stock value to 1.141 trillion naira. This is on page 8. Okay, Uzodinma Oberevori, Buni to Nigerians. Tinubu's renewed hope compass for Nigeria's. Tinubu's renewed hope is compass for Nigeria's fortune. All right, more story. IGP to senior officers, abuse of office won't be tolerated. That is on pages 3 and 29. Alleged graft, ICPC arraigns El-Rufai today, page 3 and 4 read. And Igbenedion Education Center saga, heightened concern for bullying in schools. This is on page 4. Now, lastly, we'll be taking the study here that is on page 29 that says, moderate coffee consumption lowers anxiety and depression. And that's it from the New Telegraph and mostly from all the papers we have checked out for today, talking about the Nigerian News Direct, the New Telegraph, the Nigerian Pilot, the Daily Monitor, Standard Times, This Nigeria, Daily Sun, and that's about it for the papers. This is not all the story there is, definitely, but these are the much that we can take as time would allow us. And really, you can always stay updated by getting the stories for yourself and getting details on those stories as much as possible, just to know what is going on and make those contributions that is expected of you as a responsible Nigerian citizen, right? But very sad story with the bombing, and particularly concerning is the fact where it says that these attacks these days is like a strategy now to shut off interception, shut off interference, talking about the fact that the bridge was bombed in Niger area, and it seems to be a strategy. If this can be, sadly so, a proactive effort made by this terrorists, by these bandits, by whatever name we have chosen to call this group and this kind of attack, what have we been able to do and what are we doing where lives are lost on a daily? Niger State, to a very great extent, judging by what has happened last year, what is happening this year, which we are barely out of the first quarter of the year on Niger State, you would not fail to count Niger State as one of the worst hit states when it comes to these insurgents. Talking about even the flooding that happened last year, Niger State was so hit. Talking about the fact that there are always accidents, just like some of the papers actually reported. Niger State was also affected on that. And then this issue on banditry, Niger State is still in the middle of it. And each time it appears our leaders come out to address the situation, but we rarely see action taken from the beginning to nip this kind of issues in the bud. It appears. I recall that when the last attack wasn't even the last attack, but when there was this successive attack on Niger State this year alone, it was stated that, oh, they know where they are hiding. Oh, it's a particular side, it's a forest. And that intelligence was given. What were we able to do with that intelligence? It's still a wonder because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I don't know about you, whether you know. And we've been seeing this repeated attacks on Niger State. What can be done? Remains the question. Not just Niger, but what can be done? It wasn't long that the president met with the governors talking about the issue of security, giving instructions, go out there. That instruction has been given before, especially when something happened when one of this happened in Plateau State. Instruction was given. When it happened in Benue, instruction was given, relocate, move to that side. It appears that instruction isn't really, working as much as it should. What should be done? What can be done differently? These are not woods that are cut down in the forest. These are human beings. These are people's loved ones. These are family members. These are Nigerians that you can't take away the fact that they are the reason you are sitting there to lead. And they are dying like flies under your leadership. What can be done? If these bandits are being this, well organized, well structured, proactive, taking these actions, why haven't we been able to do something more than maybe trying to, maybe assimilate them or speak to them? I mean, let's find a lasting solution to end these incessant killings in Nigeria. It's the best any leader, any power, anybody in power can do for Nigeria at this moment, because insecurity, not just that it takes lives, it is also affecting us economically. It's affecting us in health, in education. A lot of people are not there. Schools, sometimes schools are disrupted. You know, you find people are not in terms of our economy, agriculturally wise, we don't go to farms as often as we used to because of the issue of insecurity. And every time you see that an attempt or an act from this banditry is one of a bold one, and our own is always massaging the wounds, coming out to make our statements, say we can't tolerate this anymore. We've heard that. We've heard that. Let there be results, let there be actions, at the end of the day, to bring confidence in the minds of the people that those who have been elected to lead are actually putting the people first in their decision making. It's way, way, way important, crucial to put that in line. Very important. But as that is going on, of course, we are already in the electioneering year, I would say, and you can tell all of the whole drama as usual whenever there is meant to be any big occasion, whether it is for politics or whether it is in a wedding or in anything. There will always be this friction and no agree from your side, trying to put things together. And APC, the ruling party, is not exempted from that, as we can see. And of course, the FCT minister is still trading word with his former G5 member, Makinde, and that is ongoing. I wanted power, you wanted money. That is a very simple but very strong statement, and a very dicey one. I wanted power, you wanted money. That was what one of the papers said. That was a statement from him, trading words back and forth. But let us see that these parties also put their houses in order, and let's see what they can come up with and what the leadership might look like at the end of the day after 2027. These are the papers that we've checked out today. This Nigeria, the Nigerian News Direct, the New Telegraph, the Standard Times, the Nigerian Pilot, Daily Sun, Daily Assets, and the Daily Monitor as well. Check out any of the papers and get the details for yourself. But we'll be rounding up the newspaper review here as far as this day is concerned. We're taking you to the network studio for the news on the hour. And of course, the fact file will be coming your way at 8:30. But stay tuned at 9:15 because Political Platform will be here, and that will be something you don't want to miss. And it's also going to be airing live as well on Raypower Abuja YouTube channel. I'm talking about Raypower Abuja. And of course, guess what? Udima also at 11:05 would also air live on Raypower Abuja on the YouTube. Thank you so much for those of us who are on YouTube right now. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for making it a date with us. My name is Dima. Let us, just sort out and enjoy this one from King Madi with Akanchawa.